Okay, so I will be going over the homework solution for how to draw a triangle using a while loop. The first step is to import our turtle package, as we have learned, so that we can actually use the turtle commands. Next, I'm going to create a turtle, and I'm going to do that by defining a variable of type turtle. I'm going to name this turtle variable. Oops. Name this turtle variable triangle, because we're drawing a triangle with this turtle. And I'm going to set this variable named triangle equal to this piece of code. Oh, sorry. So I have created a turtle with this piece of code, and using this equal symbol, I am assigning it to the variable name triangle. And now that we have our turtle named triangle, I'm going to set a color for this turtle. To do that, I'm gonna call the turtle command on our turtle triangle here. To do that, I've typed triangle. Then I'm going to call the color command with dot color. Then in parentheses, I want to specify the color for my turtle, specifically the color blue. So in quotes, I'm going to write blue. That's not supposed to be here. So with these 3 lines of code, we have imported our turtle package. We have created our turtle, which we will call triangle, and we have made our turtle blue. Now, I'm going to start actually building the code for how I want to draw my triangle and the while loop that I'm going to use to create it. I'm just going to leave a comment here indicating this is where the actual loop will, the code that I'm going to write for the loop will start. Okay, so before I actually go ahead and build the while loop, I want to specify information on how I want my triangle to look like. Remember, variables store information, and one piece of information about the triangle that I want to store here is the length of each side. So I'm going to name this variable side underscore length, and I'm going to set that equal to the value 100. And the next piece of information I want about my triangle is the angle at which my turtle will turn before drawing the next side. So I'm just going to name that variable angle. I'm going to set that equal to the value 120. So I want my turtle to draw a side, and then I want to turn 120 degrees before it proceeds to draw the next side, and so on. Okay, now I'm going to specify a count variable. And I'm going to set that equal to 0. Basically, this count variable will act as a counter for how many times my loop will repeat. And I'm going to set it equal to 0 for now, because the idea is that the next lines of code that I'm about to write will be the while loop. And the idea is that before the turtle, before the code for the while loop is executed, my turtle will technically have started drawing with 0 sides. So there will be 0 sides before the while loop is executed, which is why I'm going to store the value 0 into my variable count. And of course, count will change as I loop through the while loop, because as I said, it's going to be a counter variable. And now we're going to finally write the actual while loop. I'm going to start with the keyword while space. And now I want to specify a condition for which the loop will continue to execute as long as this condition is true. And this condition, I'm going to make it count less than 3. And I'm going to add a colon here. And then the next lines of the code will be the lines that will be repeated. So now why the condition count less than 3? Well, we want 3 sides for our triangle, which means this piece of code here technically has to execute 3 times. Rather than writing out, draw a side of length 100 3 times, we're just going to put that information into our while loop. We are starting the variable count at the value 0, which means count will be 0 when the loop first starts. After the first iteration, count will be 1. After the second iteration, count will be 2. So that's 0, 1, 2. That's 3 sides. So if we made this less than or equal to, count would still execute when count is also equal to 3. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3. That's 4 sides that our turtle will be drawing. It will make a little more sense once I go ahead and actually code the rest. But that's just the general concept of it. Now, Trinket went ahead and indented for me, and the indentation is required to actually store the body of the while loop. The first thing that I want to be executed in my while loop is I want for a side to be drawn. To do that, I'm going to call the forward command on my turtle triangle, indicating I want the turtle triangle to move forward. And in the parentheses, I'm going to specify by how much I want it to move forward. And I want to move forward 100 pixels, which we have stored in our side length variable earlier. So I'm just going to use that variable here as well. The next thing I want for after a side is drawn is for my turtle to turn 120 degrees. And that information again is stored in an angle right here. So I'm going to call the left turn command on my turtle triangle. So triangle dot left. And then in parentheses, I'm going to use angle instead of 120 to let my turtle know to turn 120 degrees. After these 2 lines are executed, after my turtle has gone forward 100 and then turned left 120, I will then increment my count variable by 1. So if this was the first iteration and count was 0 after these 2 lines are executed, count will then be 1, and then the loop will start over again. And we're going to draw another side, then turn another angle. Count will be 2, still meets the condition, and so on. And count equals 2 will actually just be the last iteration, as I have mentioned earlier. Because if count equals 3, then won't meet this condition. And I don't want it to because I want 3 sides. And that's all the code. Let me just double check. Yeah, we have all of our code. So now I'm going to run it. Count equals 0, turn 120. Count equals 1, turn 120. Count equals 2, turn 120. And then when count equals 3, this condition isn't met anymore, so the loop will stop. and the program ends.